Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar with Viva-Mundo. Today we are hosting Hong Kong University, and they will be discussing the reasons why you should join them this year and the coming years for 2022. Now, a little bit about today. Please do ask questions. We are here to answer them at the very end of the webinar. We do have a Q&A session just at the bottom of our screen. You'll be able to put all your questions in there should you have any throughout the whole webinar. A little bit about Viva-Mundo. What we do, we are essentially here to help you onto the next journey of your study abroad journey. So we are here to help you with visa advice, courses, destinations, you name it, we have it. And that is what we are here to help you with today. So I'm going to hand you over to the wonderful Ying, who will be giving you your presentation today.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome students from Southeast Asia. My name is Ying. I'm from the University of Hong Kong. I work at the admissions office. And my job is to really help students also to fulfill their dreams, study abroad. So I'm joined by Joey, a current student from Malaysia. She's with us today, and she will actually also going to be talking a little bit about her experience studying at HKU as well. So without further ado, I would go straight into the actual sharing. So Aspire to Inspire, we believe that Hong Kong U is a place where a lot of the aspiration and inspiration happen. You know, students joining the university, when you subscribe to a university, when you join a university, you're more than just attending a place and getting the degree after 3 or 4 years. But at the same time, you're also joining the student community, subscribing to the culture, becoming a source of inspiration to other students, and inspiring other people, being inspired through the journey. So I want to tell you a little bit about Hong Kong and also a little bit about the university that I represent at HKU, and followed by a student to do a quick sharing. So let's begin. So Hong Kong is called the Asia's world city for good reasons, more than just the skyline that you can see, where in this picture alone, it's taken from the peak, which is one of the highest spots in Hong Kong, where you can see a lot of tall buildings, regional headquarters of different regional global headquarters of different financial and multinational corporations. Hong Kong is a lot more than that. So in fact, if you look at articles written by different people about studying Hong Kong, there are a couple of good reasons why Hong Kong is a great place for students to embark on their journeys to study abroad. The city of Hong Kong, you know, as you can see, is surrounded by mountains and beaches. So it's great for students who enjoy that kind of outdoor activities within really a very short amount of time. Either traveling with public transportation available in Hong Kong. There is the prosperous job market available for students with the city being ranked 20th worldwide for employee activity. Excellent selection of universities. There are 8 publicly funded universities, many of which are ranked in the world's top 50, and a highly international student population. We have a very high number of students studying in Hong Kong are international, bringing in different cultures and also helping the city become Asia's world city. So Hong Kong is located in the heart of Asia, with access to a lot of the major locations in Asia, as well as in Southeast Asia. Within 4 hours, you can see that can already reach many destinations. Before COVID-19, actually, Hong Kong is also a very popular transit kind of location where people will go from different places, go to different major cities in North America and Europe, and also connecting those with locations in Asia as well. Now, many of you may not know, but Hong Kong is part of what we call the Greater Bay Area Initiative by the Chinese government. So what that really means is that as a student joining the University of Hong Kong, you're also joining what the Chinese initiative called, this Chinese initiative that I mentioned, the GBA, or the Greater Bay Area Initiative, where the implication of that is that there will be a lot of investment, a lot of innovation-related, technology-related activities taking place in the Southeast Asia near the coast, which is why the term Greater Bay Area is coined. And as a result of that, there will be a lot of investment from foreign investor, from mainland Chinese investor. There will be a lot of job openings. There will also be a lot of spending in terms of people doing research and development, companies that are hiring. That will mean that they are in fact going to need a lot of people going into industries like that to kind of fuel and also to support the development of the industry. So as for emerging engineering students, the students who want to go into that area of innovation, Hong Kong is well positioned to have that kind of exposure and have that kind of opportunities owing to the fact that it's so closely tied with the mainland China. Now, Hong Kong also has a very efficient transportation system. Hong Kong has its own subway, which is very comprehensive. Hong Kong U also has its own subway station. So it's a great place for students to navigate around the Hong Kong Island, around the CBD, which is just 10 minutes away from the campus. All the courses at HKU are taught in English, and not just at HKU, all the courses offered by the universities in Hong Kong are taught in English, so students do not have a problem surviving here without knowing it. Hong Kong also offers a fairly affordable education that is on par with a lot of the universities abroad, that are definitely on par with them in terms of the quality. And even though many of you may think that Hong Kong is known for having very expensive rent, in fact, if you live on campus, the fare is fairly affordable, I would say, for students. So this is another great way for students to leverage on the opportunities as well as the resources that universities provide to students, making the fees that students are expected to pay a lot less than what they would otherwise pay in universities such as in the US or in Europe. All students will be automatically considered for scholarships based on their application. So based on the application, based on the profile, and then they usually would receive a scholarship offer along with the admissions offer. So that's another great opportunity for students to find other ways to finance their study as well. So next, I want to talk about the University of Hong Kong. In the past 15 years, you can see that HKU has reached a virtually 100% employment rate, thanks to the long history of the university, as well as a very well-connected alumni network. From the QS Graduate Employability Ranking 2022, the ranking places 10th in the world, and all students coming into HKU to do the degree, by the time they graduate, they will be able to stay in Hong Kong to look for jobs. There will be visa extended for them directly. So if they do want to stay in Hong Kong, they are welcome to, although they are not, it's not mandatory for students to stay. So all the scholarships, all the admissions offer are bond-free. So students are not required to stay, although I do think quite a lot of students will find staying in Hong Kong to kickstart their career quite attractive. This is just a few quick statistics on the rankings. Most of you probably already know. And in terms of the professors available, teaching staff at the university, close to 2/3 of them are actually international, again, showcasing that you really don't need Chinese to survive in Hong Kong. There are lots of clubs and societies for students. And if none of that worked for you, you can always start your own. It's fairly easy for you to do so. There are tons of halls and colleges on campus or near campus, and restaurants as well, because the location of HKU with a lot of restaurants nearby. We are situated in kind of like the urban area where a lot of expats lived in. So it's a great place for students. If you have dietary restrictions, if you have preferences, there will be something for everyone. Okay, here, moving to talk a little bit about the university itself. We offer 10 different faculties. So actually consists of 10 different faculties ranging from arts, social sciences to business, engineering, science, and etc. 48 undergraduate degrees we offer for students to apply to, and close to 100 major minor options for students to choose from. A lot of that would allow students to have one major. So most students would have one major as the area of specialization, and then they can go on to take, say, for example, a second major or minor, depending on whether the course would allow that. So that also offers a very broad foundation for students to build kind of build a career, build their interests and passion upon. So here, because we want to talk about engineering today, so I'm putting out some information about the engineering programs that HKU offer. When we talk about engineering, actually a lot of disciplines fall into what we call the traditional area engineering. So this is a list of engineering programs that HKU has to offer. So ranging from civil engineering, computer engineering, electrical engineering, electronic engineering, industrial engineering, and mechanical engineering. Computer science also fall under the Bachelor of Engineering at the University of Hong Kong. So if you're someone interested in computer science, do look out for the Bachelor of Engineering. These are the programs that are recognized by the Hong Kong IE, which is the Hong Kong Institution of Engineers. So with the recognition that with the engineering degree you gain, you will also be able to have that accreditation being used in other countries as well. So that's the Bachelor of Engineering. Students coming into this program do not have to declare their major yet the moment they enter. So they will be entering the Bachelor of Engineering and deciding which area of discipline or which area of specialization they want to go into. In addition, we also have what we call the Bachelor of Engineering Science, so which is what our student Joey is taking. So there are a number of programs under the Bachelor of Engineering Science at the moment the students can choose from. So here's on the list. So these programs are in emergent areas where students will be combining pretty much knowledge in a particular area with, say, another broad discipline. They can do a second major elsewhere from different faculty and top it up with elective courses. And by the time they complete their 4 years of study, then they will be able to go into interdisciplinary or very professional oriented career, as you can see on this slide here. In addition to those two broad-based common admissions program where students enter and choose a major later on, there are also a number of other engineering programs available for students, namely the Bachelor of Engineering in Biomedical Engineering. So for students who want to go into biomedical research, biomedical engineering, supporting doctors, technology to support doctors, that may be something of interest to you. Bachelor of Engineering in Data Science Engineering, that is a new program geared towards students who want to go into kind of building database, kind of helping data scientists to do their analytics. That's kind of the data science, very algorithm, very programming heavy program in data science and engineering. A Bachelor of Arts and Sciences in Financial Technology, a FinTech program, where you will be learning something like the cryptocurrency, learning something like the blockchain technology. Those will be something that you will learn in the financial technology program, as well as a 5-year global engineering and business program, or GEBP. This is a program where students will gain an engineering accreditation plus a business specialization. So with two graduating with engineering as well as business. So outside of all those programs I just mentioned, we also have a joint recruitment scheme with the University of Cambridge, again, world-renowned institution, offering a joint recruitment for students entering HKU to study either engineering or computer science. So this particular program, students do not have to submit an application. All they need to do is apply to the HKU General Engineering degree, so Bachelor of Engineering, or the Bachelor of Engineering Biomedical Sciences. Then they will be considered for joining the Cambridge undergraduate scheme. And if they do go on to complete the scheme, they will be able to get more than 2 degrees by the time they graduate. So I believe one bachelor from HKU, one bachelor from Cambridge, and a master's from Cambridge in 5 years' time. So here we talk about also some new programs, and the new programs HKU focus on heavily focuses on big data and digital technologies, which we believe is the key word for today's society. And when we talk about big data, we always talk about the data, the model, the database behind, which I already kind of briefly mentioned. And in a very digitalized world that we live in right now, people pretty much cannot live without technology. You and I, we have our smartphone. We cannot imagine what it's like, at least for me, what I couldn't imagine what it's like without a smartphone 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And now we pretty much live on it. And what you can do with big data is simply mind-boggling. You can do a lot of analytics. You can do a lot of predictive analysis based on consumer behavior, based on how things how, for example, if you want to push a particular product, how do you know which are the type of people who are more likely to make a purchase? These are the things that makes use of big data. For example, also, smart city technology. That's something that I think most cities, most international cities are pushing towards in the past decade. Using big data, artificial intelligence to identify, anomalies in, say, some in biomedical imaging technology. So that's something that also make use of big data. And to help students to achieve their goals in utilizing big data, actually you launch a number of new programs. Actually, this one already mentioned, the Bachelor of Engineering, Data Science and Engineering. There are also a number of engineering, science, and big data related programs that HKU has offered. And students are very much welcome to take a deeper look into them. I won't go into details here. But do visit our website for more information on what these programs can help you, regardless of how in-depth you want to go into, whether you want to be a very technical person or you want to be someone who is less technical, but also having kind of the background in a little bit about how to make use of your field in a digital world. So these are programs that you can definitely consider, and they're open for international students to apply to. Okay, so before I close, I want to talk just very quickly about change opportunities before COVID-19. Close to 10,000 overseas learning experiences by our students just one single year. That's really remarkable. We have 380 plus exchange partners from 46 destinations or countries. And the dual degree programs that we offer to students. So this is the list. I mentioned about Cambridge, but they are also more than Cambridge, and they are focusing on different disciplines. And if you want to know more, obviously you can ask me. You can ask a student later on as well. So with that, I want to pass the floor to Joey, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her story, and going to tell you a little bit more about her experiences as a Southeast Asian student studying at HKU.
Hey everyone, so today I'll be sharing a little bit about my experience as an engineering student studying at HKU and HK. So a little bit of background on myself. I'm currently a Bachelor of Engineering Science in year 3, majoring in Biomedical Engineering and Molecular Biology and Biotechnology. It's a really long title, I know. I'm also a HK South Belt and Road Scholarship recipient. So if any of you have questions regarding the scholarship, feel free to approach me. Just winding back a little bit before HKU, I did my A-levels in these 4 subjects, finishing with a 3 A-star and 1 A. So I am living proof that even if you don't get 4 A-stars, you'll be fine. A-levels is not the end. So before even considering applications, maybe you're unsure about where you want to study. So I was asked about factors I considered when I was applying for university. So these were those factors. I remember when university application started, everyone was fussing over applying to the top ranking universities. 3 years later, I can say for sure that is not the only factor that you should consider. I've seen my friends drop out of universities like NUS and UCL just because it wasn't like they expected it to be like. So when applying for university, I implore you to consider factors beyond QS and THE rankings. Looking to specific modules for the courses you want to study and the external learning opportunities that the university offers you will actually save you a lot of time. Looking into scholarships and if going to that particular university even makes financial sense is also an important factor. Look at after graduation opportunities and whether you actually even enjoy studying in the country that living in the country that you are studying in. All of this is not to say that you shouldn't consider academic reputation, because let's be real, academic reputation can open doors for you. I'm just saying that it's not the only thing that you should consider. So putting all of these factors together, why did I pick HKU? I think as Ying mentioned earlier on, HKU has one of the best reputations amongst universities worldwide, and also one university with abundant opportunities due to its proximity with the Greater Bay Area. So I'm not going to go too much into the specifics, but one of the main reasons why I chose HKU is because it's close to Shenzhen, which is having like as a biotech student, they're having like a biotechnology boom around over there. So lots of job opportunities. Second reason why I chose HKU is because it's one of the most international universities. So in HKU, I got to meet people from all different cultures and backgrounds. Yeah, so it's just really interesting to hear their stories and to share this perspectives with people that are not from similar backgrounds from me, as me. Um, Next on, it's because of the unique hall life that HKU offers. So HKU tries to emulate a kind of like Oxford and Cambridge hall system, where each hall has its own personality, and then they have like sports and everything. You kind of just like in HKU, halls are more than just a place where you live. They're also like small communities that you can that you interact with. So HKU is about 17 residential halls, each with its own personality and cultures. If you want to know more about this, you can also approach me later. Lastly is because of HKU's vibrant campus. So HKU has about, I think, 100 over clubs for you to explore, each with like, each on the different teams. So there's like sports, culture, independent clubs, leadership, development, anything that you can really think of. There's also like interesting activities organized by various departments within HKU. So I remember right now they're having a sort of urban farming campaign. I don't know, I found that quite interesting. So yeah, if these are your things, then HKU is definitely a place for you. So now so I mentioned earlier that that one of the things that you should look into is whether it makes financial sense for you to even go to the university that you've chosen. So particularly for HKU, they offer like a huge range of scholarships. For me, I am again a Belt and Road Scholarship recipient. So this scholarship was established to attract like I would say merit, high merit students, non-local students around the Belt and Road region. So these includes places like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar, and even Korea and Vietnam. So the list of countries can be found at this link. There's a lot of them. Some details about the scholarship is that it covers full tuition fees. So that means it's renewed every year depending on your satisfactory academic performance. And that's, I think, about a 3.0 CGPA, which is honestly not difficult to achieve. And this requires a kind of separate application, but if you are nominated for the scholarship, they will contact you later on. Yeah. So now let's look into academics. HKU's degrees tend to have like a high degree of flexibility, and engineering in HKU is not an exception. For most degrees, you have a large number of credits reserved for electives, allowing you to explore your interests across all faculties in HKU. Many students opt to do a second major or minor, and you can check out all the major options on the HKU website just by Googling it. The combinations are really vast, as much as you can imagine. As many as there are choices for Subway sandwiches. I know of a student who is currently doing environmental engineering, but also doing a second major in comparative literature. But if that is not enough exploration for you, there are also the common core subjects which encourages students to explore topics outside their major. So the classes go into topics like archaeology, urban legends, Chinese mythology, and you can read more about these on the Common Core website from HKU as well. So specifically zooming in on the engineering curriculum, all HKU first year engineers have to do a broad-based curriculum before selecting their majors at the end of year one. That means you'll be exploring topics like in electronics and electrical engineering, mechanics, computer science, no matter which discipline you intend to do. This gives students like the flexibility to make a more informed decision on their professional specialization, as well as giving all of the students a multidisciplinary foundation, which applies to all disciplines of engineering. Because you can't build a robot just by knowing the mechanics of it. You also have to understand like the electronics and everything, right? So yeah, multidisciplinary foundation. In addition to that, knowing the best way to learn is by doing. HKU engineering heavily emphasizes on practical learning. Connecting the bridge between theory and practice, the engineering faculty has several courses in its curriculum, such as ENGG 1320, which is Engineers in the Modern World, where you get to work on a full hands-on project in your first year. So I remember in my project, my team and I worked on a emotion recognition app without prior knowledge in programming. So while the learning curve was really, really steep, the professors were there to guide my team along the way. And it was quite a rewarding experience because these are the things that you wouldn't learn by just reading a book, right? Additionally, the engineering faculty also organizes engineering training for all second year students in the summer of year 2. Here you learn skills like soldering, SolidWorks, Arduino, a lot of skills, which are practical for when you want to find a job after you graduate, or even if you want to find an internship in your 3rd year. So for prospective biomedical engineering students, we also have a lab shadowing program in your 1st and 2nd years, where you get to shadow professors who are doing lab research for 1 to 2 weeks just to see what that's all about. It's pretty cool stuff, yeah. So outside of class, HKU also encourages its students to take part in projects. So for me, I worked on several projects outside the classroom, most notably on a student group called BREE, which broke the Guinness World Record for the fastest swim by a robotic fish. But this isn't a feat that the team could have accomplished without the help of the faculty. So the Tumming Fund Innovation Wing is the latest addition to the buildings in HKU. As a student interest group, InnoWing helped push BREE to the next level by providing us with funding, space, and equipment to create. Prior to having access to InnoWing, our team found it really difficult to get access to equipment like 3D printers, welding tools, and laser cutters, which were essential to help us prototype the fish quickly. Additionally, InnoWing also gave us contacts from various professors who gave us advice and suggestions on how to improve our designs, as well as how to take things to the next level. So I remember we had a connection with this professor who is offering to help take our fish to the ocean. Additionally, the pitching events like InnoSpark and InnoShow, as you can see over here and over here, are events that InnoWing regularly hosts, are a good training ground for engineering students like you and me who don't really get much exposure to public speaking. So these are good places to refine your presentation and public speaking skills. So as the head of the innovation and impact at BREE, this has definitely helped my team in getting the practical experience we need before going to larger competitions like the Hong Kong Institute of Engineers Innovation Award. So yeah, if you are planning to come to HKU, InnoWing is one of the best supports that you ever get. Definitely apply as a member. So all of the technical things, all of these add up to the chur culture of HKU. Chur means busy or overwork culture. So at HKU, you never find a student who has nothing to do. Students are always busy looking for things that they can embellish on their LinkedIn. So things like internships, research opportunities, competitions. A lot of students even take online courses even alongside their degrees. So these pictures are alive. These are the study common rooms in HKU, such as Chiwa and main library, campus coffee shops, etc. You'll never see these empty, even on summer break. I know of people who even go as far as to overnight to burn the midnight oil in these places. So yeah, HKU students are really hardworking. So if you are a competitive spirit and you want to get the best out of your university life, HKU is one. I would definitely recommend coming to HKU. And also on the internship search part, I know that it's really daunting when you're coming into a country that you don't know particularly well, and look for jobs, right? Because you don't know the landscape and all. But not to worry. So my top 2 tips for coming internship searches at HKU is number 1, if you're looking for research opportunities, email your professors. There is a list of academic staff that is hosted on the HKU engineering website. And over there, you find the directory of professors and the projects that they're working on. If something that they're working on interests you, just email them and they might accept you as a research assistant in their lab. Secondly, every day, HKU students get spammed with a mass email containing a list of job opportunities by seniors. So you can see over here, this was taken about roughly 2 weeks ago. But yeah, so all of the opportunities are constantly updated on our email as well as the external learning opportunity portal. So you'll never not find something to do. Yeah. Lastly, I think not all of these aside, I understand that it's really important to have an actual student life. Not everything is about studying, not everything is about working, right? So at HKU, like I said before, there is a lot of clubs that you can join to explore your interests, as well as joining halls and societies. Joining halls. I think these are the places where I made the most friends because it brings people from a lot of different backgrounds to come together and work towards a shared goal. Um, Especially for halls, I live in St. John's. St. John's is particularly known for having a very close-knit community. So if that's what you're looking for, definitely join a hall, would recommend. And these places, particularly for St. John's, I can't say for other halls, you don't really need to have you don't really need to speak Cantonese to integrate with the locals because they all speak English and they're very welcoming. So yeah, that's on actual student life at HKU. Lastly, like I said just now, it's very daunting when you come to a new country and you don't know anything, right? So not to worry, because there is a huge Southeast Asian community at HKU. I can't say too much about the other countries, but for particularly Malaysia, we tend to be the Malaysians tend to be very, very close. So we will have like events amongst ourselves, such as uh, we recently had an open semester rise, which we call Hoi Sem Pan, where we all just get together and celebrate the opening of the semester. We have things like Malaysian night as well, and generally we're just generally quite a close community, even going as far as sharing our academic resources between each other. I know for the Indonesians, they also have their own cultural night, and I'm pretty sure for other communities, they have something similar. And sometimes they do mix. So for Malaysian night, we do tend to invite a few like Indian or even Indonesian students over, but that that's depending on how close you are to the people within the community. But yeah, so Southeast Asian community is huge. You will never need to feel like you're out of place. Yeah. So that is the end of my sharing. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me through Instagram, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions, or you can just drop them in the Q&A section. But yeah, thank you.
I want to, before we close, before we go to the questions, actually, I want to quickly go over the admissions requirements. So there are students already asking in the chat. So just want to very quickly go over the admissions kind of 101, what you really need to know about applying to HKU. So first and foremost, if you're applying with an international, even a regional national qualification, you will be able to apply to HKU and you will be applying through the international admissions pathway. So that being said, the first round evaluation deadline will be November 17th, so which is roughly about 6 weeks from now, if you're watching live. So if you are very serious about applying to HKU, you want to be considered for the first round, definitely apply by then. You may be invited for interviews, you may be invited to conduct additional selection as well. Our application is currently open, so you're definitely very welcome to go and check it out and see what you need to submit. If you do happen to miss the deadline, unfortunately, you can always apply because we operate also on a rolling basis. So students are welcome to submit the application all the way till August 2022, subject to program availability. That I do have to warn everyone that the later you apply, obviously, the fewer spaces will be available. So definitely take your chance. Grasp the opportunity to apply early, to be considered early as well. There is also kind of what we publish the expected lower boundaries on the website, so you can kind of gauge how competitive your application would be. And as HKU is an English medium institution, all students are required to demonstrate English language proficiency. So that can be met with one of the qualifications listed here. We do have a full list, so you can also check our website. All students are required to meet the second language requirements as well. So that's a language other than English. It does not have to be Chinese. It can be anything really other than English. So just make sure you also have that so that you can check that off the list. And program requirements, if you are someone interested in engineering, I mentioned math and physics in your higher level, if you're IB, if you're A-level, if you're A-level, that will be the score primarily that we do look at to make sure that you will be able to survive in the faculty of engineering doing all the engineering related coursework. So a few very quick points. All students can apply with predicted results. If you're A-level students, IB students, that's perfectly fine for you to apply with that, because chances are you're not going to get your final results by November 2021. So definitely take that into consideration. You may receive conditional offer. You are also asked to provide your academic history from middle school onwards. So that will also help us to assess your full academic history. And you can upload or update application or academic results on the application system throughout the admission cycle. So if you have new changes in your score, if you have updated predicted grades, if you have anything extra that you want us to take into consideration, definitely do put those on your application form as well, and you can continuously update them throughout the application. And one personal statement is required for all students applying to HKU that can be uploaded to the system directly. We also recommend students to provide at least one reference. So maybe usually 2 will be a good number. Find someone who knows you to write the references for you, so that we can also know more, get to learn more about you, your passion, and why you want to apply to HKU. Last but not least, all students with 5 program choices. So I mentioned we have 48 undergraduate degrees. Student can choose up to 5, and they can place them and rank them when they submit the application, and they may receive multiple offers based on the application profile. So with that, I want to stop and move to Q&A. Do make sure you check out our admissions website right here, admissions.hku.hk. This is where you will find the application form, you'll find program information, you'll find out more about the dual degree programs, and also things like scholarships and stuff like that. So if you want to do your research, now is a great time for you to do so, especially if you're in your final year. And with that, I would pause here, and then we'll get to the actual questions. So if you have questions, do feel free to drop a line in the chat, and we'll get to them shortly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ying, for a brilliant presentation. We have had a few questions. I do think that a few have been answered by text. So I will start with the first one. Can I gain a job alongside my degree on campus?
Okay, that's a good question. So all full-time students will be able to will have a limit, have a quota in terms of how the maximum number of hours they can work on campus. So usually that is 20 hours a week. So provided that they can find an opportunity opening, it can be a research, it can be helping an office, for example, then they can do that with a maximum 20 hours per week as a full-time student. If students receive permission from the faculty, they may also be able to take on internships. But again, that during their semester, but that is also subject to a 20-hour maximum limit per hour. If we want to consider anything other than those, students are welcome to take on internships during the summer. So they're very much welcome to stay in Hong Kong to do those paid internships, anything that they could find, really. So they are absolutely welcome to do so, and that's where all those emails kind of Joey mentioned comes in. That's where you start applying during the semester, so that you will be able to find something over the summer, or even during your time studying as well. So yeah, I think that should cover that.
Great, thank you. And I do want to ask a question, actually. I think Joy typed to an attendee, because I think it'll be helpful for all students. Is finding accommodation difficult, or do you recommend staying on campus or off campus?
So I can answer the basics, and then I'll let Joey to
Sure.
tell us a little bit about her experience looking for places. So pretty much all international students will have a priority to be placed in a hall. So pretty much the first year, you can say that if students are doing their work right, if they are really making their application in time, they pretty much for sure going to get a place to live either on campus or near campus. And that would be very affordable for students, obviously. After the first year, that would depend on whether the students want to stay in the hall, because actually I think a good number would decide not to because the hall is not a place for them. There are commitment with the hall in terms of what students are expected to do to participate, and that's something that some is not fit for some of the students. So I would say some students obviously would not consider, and there will be students who reapply or go through what we call the readmissions process, and then see whether a hall would take them. They may go through interviews. They may have to demonstrate, the things that they can contribute to the hall. So pretty much there is a system, existing system like that. So I think that is depending on the student's preference and interest. So I think that would, if students want to live in the hall for all 4 years, it's definitely possible, but there will be expectations associated with that. So Joey, anything else you want to add based on your experience?
So like I said earlier, halls in HKU are more than just a space to live. So whether living off campus or on campus, I know a lot of people who they leave their halls and they band together to find like accommodation off campus. So that comes up to about 6,000, 7,000 Hong Kong dollars, roughly a month for 4 people staying in a flat together. Personally, for me, I would prefer staying on campus because one, it's closer, it's cheaper. For a whole semester, I am currently paying about 30,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is way cheaper than if I were to live on campus. As well as I get like a whole community that I can kind of interact with, so it doesn't feel so lonely, And for St. John's particularly, we also have like a meal plan, so that's quite an added bonus if you're lazy like me and don't want to cook.
Okay, thank you. And I think we have one more remaining question. I think it's a bit specific, but can I gain some advice on what programs would work for me? Do you have a specific person or department that I can talk to?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I think that's the question that we always have, and students always, in their journey of personal discovery, they will find out that, they like a particular subject more so than the others, but at the same time, kind of bearing in mind, I want to make sure that by the time I graduate, I will be able to get employed. So I want to also obviously do something that is going to help me give me a competitive edge in terms of the job placement. So all the factors obviously would come into play, right? So I think as a counselor, so that's also part of what I do, right? I counsel students and tell them, what kind of jobs, what kind of programs may work for you. I think very, very, very much the first thing that I ask them is, what kind of courses are you interested in? You're a high school student, you want to think about, the course you're already taking right now. Do you love doing them, or are you good at them? Or can you see yourself doing it for another 4 years? Can you see yourself even after graduating doing that 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, doing that for the next 10 years? If the answer is yes, then probably you have something then I will have something in mind for you to recommend to you. If it's not, then probably you want to consider something else. But obviously, as we say, it's going to be a compromise. There will be kind of a probably expectations from the parents, expectations from the peers, what would work. Do you want to stay in Hong Kong to work in the future? Do you want to go somewhere else? Do you want to go into grad school? Do you see yourself, doing a very programming heavy specific program? You want to go into a more general degree? You see yourself going to be switching jobs, or do you want to go into a very professional degree? These are all the questions that you should probably be asking yourself. So I do not currently have a magical answer that will work for everyone. So that probably would depend on how you respond to these kind of questions. And based on those questions, then you can also decide what may be something that you want to pursue as a university major. Joey, anything you want to add?
I think while I was picking like my university degree, I was also really stressed about thinking like, oh, is this something that I want to do for the rest of my life? But coming into university and seeing like the people around me graduate and like explore their life, I realized that the degree that you pick when you first go into university, while like it may seem like, oh, that's like the life decision that you need to make, right? It really like it's quite flexible. Like I know someone who studied geography in university, but now she's working in finance at HSBC. So it's not the end of the world if you pick a degree that you don't like. But at the same time, if you enter HKU and there you realize that this is not the course for you, there's always the faculty transfer or program transfer option that happens at the end of every year, which you can apply for and just transfer to a different program. So yeah, that's a backdoor if you if you can see it that way. So yeah, it's not the end of the world if you pick a degree you don't like.
Okay, thank you so much for all of your answers and all of your questions. Thank you to the participants for coming and listening to the webinar. As ever, if you are watching on demand, please do send in your questions. We will get to them by email after the webinar has been conducted. Okay, are there any last words from you, Ying or Joy?
Just a very quick kind of very quick point I want to make that as Joey mentioned, all the classes now going back to physical. We believe that a lot of opportunities are opening up. We are seeing students going on exchange finally, after COVID has a really huge impact on flights and travel and global traveling. We are seeing that, and I believe that as more of that open up, as Hong Kong also kind of transitioning back to where it used to be, I think we can offer unparalleled opportunities for students who want to get the most out of their undergraduate education, more than just listening online, more than just participating in virtual version of things. I think there are absolute merits of virtual activities, but at the same time, university is much more than just going to classes, much more than just listening in lectures. So we want to urge all students to make your choice carefully, to really take advantage of the information available to you and make your choice when you apply to university, when you decide to enroll. That I think will be, regardless of where you choose at the end, make sure you find something that works for you, that suits your own personal interest and passion, and get the most out of it during your time as an undergraduate student. So yeah, that's it.
All right, thank you so much for everything today, guys, and thank you for joining. If you do need anything, do let us know, we'll get back to you. And don't forget to visit viva-mundo.com for more information on study abroad education. All right, goodbye, everybody, wherever you guys are today.
Thank you.